I'm Dr. Dean Foster, who taught here at the VMI, where we sit at the moment. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about the Good Turn bed, which was developed here in the sleep laboratories of the Sleep Research Foundation, which I've headed since 1952. And in this demonstration, we hope to introduce you in detail to all of the actions and dynamic movements of this Good Turn bed. And muscle. And it's this pressure that makes for decubitus ulcers or bed sores. It also reduces sliding during the turning and tilting. For the caregivers, it's a secure patient that is much less of a worry for him or her, and it makes other actions possible, including exiting from the foot of the bed to go to a wheelchair or other surface. Now we are turning 25 degrees to the right, then 25 degrees to the left. Note that the patient is turned by the bed as he is in it, rather than having to roll over on the bed as one has to in all other surfaces. Here, what you're seeing is being done manually by the pushing of a button by an operator out of sight of the camera. But recall that the patient or the caregiver can provide this same turning action for which this bed has been named. The patient benefits especially by a shift in position for blessed comfort. As the bed's support area shifts, he is assured that the pressure points can be changed painlessly at any time. Our objective here is to eliminate, as far as possible, any hemodynamic local resistances. For the caregivers, simplified change of sheets, bed panning, washing, cleaning, examining, removal from the bed. With cradling, this turning gives less pressure of blankets. They're easily warmed, and at any time there is minimum stimulation so that the rest can go on apace no matter what changes, automatic or manual, are being made. The whole bed, by the digital controls, can be persuaded to raise your feet above your head some 12 inches, or the opposite. When the feet are up, many people refer to that as the Trendelenburg position, and it's such a valuable maneuver when shock or trauma are threatening. And when it's the other way, of course, you combine it to help many things, as we'll see. Now, this is for healthy people, a useful preliminary to getting up in the morning, but for the patient who is confined to bed, any attitude change is very restfully welcome. He need push only one of the switches, one of the buttons, in two directions, and his visceral organs seem to shift in his body, and he says, "Oh, that's nice." For the caregiver, this provides aid in reduction of cramping for threatened miscarriage. And heart and condition also are aided and abetted there. The head and knees now, like any other all-electric bed, are subject to patient or nursing control. With the head and knees fully up, the bed is shortened by nearly 2 feet, and when combined with cradling's narrowing, provides for better storage, easier cleaning under the bed, and movement from, say, emergency room to X-ray to one's own special space. And at home, as in all such places, the narrowing and shortening are invaluable. Incidentally, the whole bed elevation is controlled by a single button, and that helps when one is on the same cleaning or patient care details. Note, too, that the flexible mattress is an X-ray transparent supporting surface, and it becomes also very necessary to the acrobatics that you're seeing here with the knee and the head raised and in action. The patient's benefits are for the essentials such as eating, drinking, reading, writing, visiting, TV viewing, nearly any of these, and when combined with turning, the permutations and combinations quickly add up to more than 1 million different positions available to the occupant, without our adding the Fowler or the feet elevated optional attitude change that is in there. Now for the caregivers, these 3 independent action of knees, head, and bed tilt are all compatible and all help the patient in gaining access to any part of the body for any purpose. Auto turn. And this eliminates the need to awaken a patient several times nightly for turning him to a new position. The interval between turns is adjustable and controlled from, say, 2 minutes to 2 hours. And so is the duration of the actual turning from, say, little old short 2-second turn to up to a long 6-second turn. So it takes several times to turn the patient completely to the right and then automatically over to the left. It goes on all night. So the patient falls asleep knowing that the bed at this interval will be gently, quietly turning him to the right and to the left automatically all night long. And the caregiver knows that he doesn't have to awaken the patient and lift him or engage the services of several other people, often 4, to awaken and bother the patient. Full of our effort to provide comfort, contentment, and healing for the patients. This is a traction device. In illustration here, the ever vertical supporting tubes on the side make this possible. You notice that every time the bed moves in any direction, any type of action, that the cross members supporting above, knees up, down, whatever. What does this mean? Simply that the debilitation of injury can be relieved. So too can prescribed exercise be achieved via pull-up, pushes, or other muscular involvement. Recall that the caregiver has her own buttons on the digital control to override or cancel any action that might be injurious to a patient. So the patient, whether he's in a whole body cast, has an arm and leg cast, or even when bound by the most intensive orthopedic system, can still be turned safely, effortlessly, and best of all, painlessly. Is there worse fate anywhere than immobility? Probably not. Caregivers, as the immobile patient is granted mobility, are rejoicing. So too, as with the orthopedic, so with the comatose, or post-surgical recovery. The most embarrassing and difficult activity any occupant of a bed ever experiences is addressed. It's addressed with an excretory sling that you see here. And it provides a way for putting a plastic receptacle with an apron around it to receive the products of excretion. The person is raised and the patient appreciates that, and he's given privacy and comfort. If help is needed, he can't handle it himself, then that is possible. For the caregiver, all who have used this device applaud the concept and the design, for its hinges support for the sling help anyone. An ordinarily difficult task becomes a minimum of travail and embarrassment. For final illustration, we refer you to the control panel, which is a box with the lid off so that we can peek inside and see what's going on. On the right, you notice that there are the same 6 switches that control from the patient's standpoint. Here the caregiver can shut off any one of them that he wishes. On the left, you see the auto turn adjustments and also for vibration and other actions of the bed. All of this and more has been created in the last 6 years. The digital logic inside, relays and chips accommodate all that you have witnessed, and I hope that you realize that this is prototypical, not final. All right, you have had a brief introduction now to Good Turn's prototype beds. We believe that they are ready to go into the next stage, into production, in order for manufacturing and design improvements, and also, of course, distribution and sale, marketing of these devices to relieve suffering can proceed apace. We're not saying that we're not proud of the prototypes and the way in which they have stood up in the tests and evaluations around the state of Virginia. But we are saying that it must be done better, more reliably, higher reliability in every phase and action. Yes, they behave well. Yes, they behave upon command, but let's be a lot more certain of every function that we have there. They are, remember, prototypes. They illustrate the case, but they're not enough. Now, we also have accessories upon which we have worked very, very hard, and they are most interesting and intriguing. Anyone will agree. They often are as good as the bed itself. You will see them in later episodes. Just stay with us. Thank you.